All right. Back to work. Close out the work. Time to get ready for tomorrow. It's Tuesday evening, the 22nd day of March, 2022. Hope you guys had a fantastic day out there, but it's about that time of day again, right? This money is not going to make itself on Wednesday. As always, right, welcome back to your nightly newsletter. If you're watching for the first time tonight, great to have you with me here if you're watching for the first time. My job tonight is to help us find the best trades, setting up for Wednesday's trading session. And I have a ton of great setups we're tracking for tomorrow. Got the S&P ready, Nasdaq's ready, crude oil is ready. There is no shortage of really reliable, nice setups on my radar for tomorrow. In tonight's video, I'm going to cover all my favorite trades setting up for Wacky Wednesday's trading session. And most importantly, too, I'll also cover some things for you to avoid to keep yourself out of trouble. That way you can avoid those losses and keep all those gains tomorrow, whether you're trading on your own or you're trading with us in our morning trade room. Now, of course, before we jump into the video tonight, got a lot I want to cover in this video lesson. We're going to cover all the details, my favorite trades in this video. Before we do, though, make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel because I publish this video every evening with my best trade ideas for the following day. I don't want you to miss tomorrow night's video, so make sure you subscribe. Hit that little bell icon because I want to make sure you get notified every time I publish something new. A lot of this stuff is very time sensitive, right? So make sure you hit that little bell icon and set your notifications. Also, too, if you have any questions for me tonight, I do personally answer all the questions. So drop those questions in the comment section. Don't be bashful. Don't be shy. I would love to help out in the comments. So let me know if you have any questions along the way. And as always, I appreciate you guys carving some time out tonight. If you enjoy this video as much as I enjoy making it, if you use this newsletter to get your mind right and get those charts right, hit that like button for me. Appreciate you guys carving some time out. But enough of the intro though, right? Where are the best trades for Wednesday? Boy, oh boy, looking forward to a very good day coming into Wednesday's trading session. Where's the easy money right now? Boy, I'll tell you, we got a lot to cover tonight in this video. We got a nice strong trend on the S&P and the Nasdaq. Now, like we've seen the last few weeks, the S&P and the Nasdaq are very similar. But I'll tell you, there is one very big difference between the S&P and the Nasdaq, and you really want to make sure you know what that difference is because it will determine how we buy some of these pullbacks, right? Nice big move up. Would love to buy some pullbacks here, right? Buy some pullbacks, and of course, we got a plenty of space overhead. I've got my eyes on a couple breakout patterns for us as well. And you know me, right? You know me. I am not afraid of a reversal. I will definitely talk about trading the reversals, the short side here on the Nasdaq and the S&P. Over on the oil is, I'll tell you, oil looks a little bit confused right now. It does. It's got some bullish clues, it's got some bearish clues, and so I think we can pretty much trade both sides of this market for tomorrow. So I'll tell you, if you're an oil trader like we are in our trade room, you definitely want to stick around here on the oil. Now, what I'm going to do here tonight is I have a lot of different trades we'll talk about. I'm going to go through each one of these charts in the video here tonight. Whether you trade the S&P, the crude oil, or you trade all of them like we do in our trade room, there are going to be lessons to learn, money-making opportunities, right, in each different section of this video. So make sure you watch the entire thing all the way to the end. The S&P and the Nasdaq will be very similar tonight, but I will keep it spicy here on this video by changing things up, giving you different variations, different setups. So if you're serious about your trading, you're going to learn something new in every single aspect of this video here tonight. So make sure you watch all the way through so you're ready for Wednesday. Speaking of Wednesday, though, why don't we jump in here and let's take a look at the schedule for tomorrow, because tomorrow really, it's a pretty busy day. It's a pretty busy day, right? We got ultimately 3 news events tomorrow. The 2 that you really need to be aware of are the Powell, of course, his speech tomorrow at 8 a.m. Eastern time. And then, of course, we got the inventory report tomorrow at 10:30 Eastern time. On top of that, unless you've been living under a rock, right, you probably know everyone's kind of listening in and watching every new development out of Ukraine right now. And as we heard not yesterday, but as we heard, yesterday on Monday, it's been a long week so far, can you tell? Right, as we heard on Monday, is it November yet? I'm kidding with you. As we heard on Monday, remember Powell came out on Monday absolutely swinging. It was what a 180-degree difference the Fed has made, right? The Fed went from nah, right? Inflation's no big deal to all of a sudden they're like, oh shoot, right? Inflation is a big deal, and we are hearing more from these Fed speakers right now talking about inflation and raising rates. So that is definitely going to be something that will be kind of hanging over these markets here, right? That'll be a theme probably the rest of the rest of the week here this week. So these are going to be kind of the major things on our radar for tomorrow. Now, of course, with Jerome Powell tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock Eastern time, will he? I'm sure he will. I'm sure he will make commentary. Again, everybody's kind of obsessed right now with inflation and rates and the Fed. And so obviously, guys, if we have the head of the Fed tomorrow at 8 o'clock Eastern time, if he's anything like John Williams was today, if he talks anything like the Fed speakers we've heard over the last couple hours, he will probably say we are planning on getting very aggressive, right, with these rate hikes. And so we definitely expect that to be a market mover early tomorrow as well. And then, of course, later on in the morning, we have the weekly inventory report, right? Pretty much every Wednesday at 10:30 Eastern time. And what has been affecting oil the most right now? What would you say is the one thing that's been impacting the price or the perception of oil? It is the situation in Ukraine, absolutely. So we really hit two of the biggest aspects of these markets. We've got them coming right down like a freight train tomorrow. So I am very excited for tomorrow's trading session. I would not be in the business of trying to make predictions ahead of tomorrow. Tomorrow will be a day where you're going to wake up, you're going to see what the market looks like, see how the market reacts to that Powell announcement, see how the market reacts to the inventory report, and trade the setups from there. So tonight we'll give you guys a good roadmap for tomorrow, but these are where the big kind of catalysts are probably going to be. And obviously, if we hear anything unexpected, right, any unexpected announcements out of Ukraine or any Fed speakers, right, like Mary Daly tomorrow, right, talking outside of kind of normal talking points. So very, very excited for the news we have tomorrow, because they pretty much hit right on the biggest aspects that are affecting these markets right now. Now, before we jump into the charts here, I do want to remind you there'll be no newsletter tomorrow night and Thursday night. I will be out of the office in the afternoons for the rest of the week here this week. I hate to leave you guys hanging on this, but this is the end of the first quarter, and I've got to get some stuff done here around the business. So there'll be no newsletters on Wednesday and Thursday. We'll come back and we'll finish up the full week next week, the final week of the month of March. So I hate to leave you guys hanging there. Obviously, if you're a student of ours here at School of Trade, right, I'll be there to help out the rest of the week here, right? But if you're not a student yet, just be aware, though, there'll be nothing going on, no newsletters tomorrow night and Thursday night. We'll come back to our full schedule next week, right, as we go into the final week of March. All right, let's keep this party going here. Thank you so much for understanding for tomorrow and Thursday. Now, S&P's ready, Nasdaq's ready, crude oil is ready. Again, I'm going to be talking about different variations, different setups throughout the entire video here tonight. So make sure you get comfortable and let's do this, right? Let's do this. Jumping in first here to the S&P. What is the most important factor right now on the E-mini right now? We're obviously very bullish. There's no doubt about that. There are two really, really important clues. One of them is the trading range, right? We're bullish into a trading range. Now, ranges act like magnets. So whenever we see a trading range, we go out and we find levels of support, right? Like the prior high from yesterday, right? Like a trend line or expanding triangle, right? Like prior swings. We find levels of support below the range so we can buy support, right? Because again, ranges act like magnets. That's one very important clue on this chart right now. There's another very important clue, which might be even more important for us, and that is the spike into a channel. Now, if you watch this newsletter, you probably have heard me say before, spike in channels are possibly one of the top 5 chart patterns that every trader needs to learn, because it really tells you exactly where to look for the best entries. And it's usually almost always right down in the base of that channel. So think about, right, there's your spike and there's your channel. Think about where that spike and the channel intersect, right? And that is where most of the time we get our best entries in a spike and channel. So boy, as you can see, whether you are using the spike and channel and the base of that channel, or you are using the trading range and you've measured the amount above the range and projecting that below the range, combining that with some expanding triangles and some support levels down here, as you can see, right there, everything really lines up right in this 44, really this whole area, right? 44.85. And honestly, you could go probably all the way down to that 44.73. Now, this is an important part of the difference between the Nasdaq and the S&P. All right. So if you're a Nasdaq trader, you're going to see right away we're very similar, but there's a very big difference, and I'll keep watching on that so you can see it. So we know that with the bullishness into a trading range, right, the buyers want to buy the dips, right? The buyers want to buy the dips. I would also imagine too that because obviously this is a very bull market, and we have, just look at the space we have. There's a ton of space, right? Our next big kind of milestone up there is at 45.65. We took out that 4,500 we mentioned earlier on in the month, and now of course you got that 45.65 level. That's next. So if we do get a breakout, right, absolutely buyers will be looking for breakouts. I've got 4 different breakout patterns. I'll talk about a couple of them here on the S&P, and we'll cover a few of them over on the Nasdaq. Now, how would the sellers get involved right now? And this is one big difference between the S&P and the Nasdaq. The sellers have a great shot right now for a double top reversal, right? Let's say we get those buyers coming in off of that low, go back up to retest the high. I would love to get that double top reversal off of that high. That would be a great way to sell short. But I'll tell you right now though, trying to get short on the way down is not going to be easy. We've got support levels pretty much galore, right? Including this 73 level, give or take a few ticks there, right? Which is that prior high. So I'll tell you, it's not going to be that easy to sell short on the way lower, but I definitely will talk about, right, how we can get enough strength for a breakout and then look for some shorts as we go back down, potentially, right, into that range down around 44.50, right? That previous range from earlier on this week. So buyers have the edge right now. How do we buy it as we pull back? Now, this is a very, very important part of trading ranges. Anytime we go above a range and we swing from above the range all the way to the bottom of that range, what happens is momentum, right? Momentum builds for the sellers. So what you want to think about, whether it be off the pendulum swing or off the triangle level or off the 73 level, is as we go lower, again, because of the, as I always tell our students, there's a very big difference between a pullback that looks like this, right? There's a very big difference between that pullback and this pullback, right? Does that make sense, right? This pullback is ripping off that high, right? It's it's not very strong, but momentum is different, right? So that's why this is such an important clue here right now. So what you want to do is as we end up going lower, this is the best time to use that 2-try failure pattern. And these are great too, because remember, as we take out these levels of support, and again, this could be here, could be here, could be here, right? I don't really know how far it'll pull back, but we have a good idea of where, right? We have a good idea of where. I want to get down right into these areas of support. Then what you want to do is you want to rope in those bears, right? Get those bears trying once. Get them trying twice. All their stops now, think about it, all their stops are sitting right back above those highs. right? Once I see those bears trying twice, I now know a nice signal candle will come out, right? And I can buy right into those stop losses. Now remember, the amount we go below this range is oftentimes the amount we go back above this range. So that's where the market now wants to go to. So your job is not done once you make your money off that failure. Your job now is still going. Let's mark up that new high now. Let's mark up that new channel. And one of my favorite entries on this is a little trap right off the low of that channel, right? Little trap setup, as we call it. Right off that low. It's a 2-try failure because of the swing off the high. And then you can be real aggressive on that trap entry. Now, I know most of you guys that are watching this video right now, I'm sure most of you have taken the free trading course. You've learned about traps. You know what the entry signals look like. You also know when not to take them, right? Because they're not guaranteed. We have to make sure we follow those rules. If you're one of the few folks that have not taken that free trading course, if you haven't learned the rules, if you haven't seen the real examples that we include right in that trading class, what I'll do is I'll put a link up here for you in the upper right hand corner. If you're sick and tired of missing the best trades each day, or you're taking too many losses, that free trading course is an easy roadmap to follow, the same roadmap we use every day in our trade room. You'll learn all my favorite entry patterns, when to take them, when to skip them, and you'll see a lot of examples of how we apply that stuff to our favorite markets like the S&P, the Nasdaq, and crude oil in our trade room. So definitely grab that link up there, right? Pause the video. That way, the next time I say 2-try failure into what do we always say, right? First test is the best test. You'll know exactly how to trade that on your own, right? Or you'll be ready to go to trade with me in the trade room, right? Now, again, this pattern here right now can be all the way down here, right? It really can. It really can, right? So it could be even a little bit lower here, which wouldn't be bad at all. Now, as far as the short side goes, going lower, all right, there is a way to sell this. I'm going to talk about that in the Nasdaq. All right. Again, we're going to keep this thing moving here tonight. So if you want to keep on watching, we'll talk about the short side here as it goes lower on the Nasdaq. How about buying off the high here? All right. What if we go higher here right now? Now, again, I mentioned earlier, right? We can look for that pullback. If the market runs back up and retest that high, now, can I grab a short off that high? Absolutely. These are some of my favorites, right? I love these double top reversals. So again, let's say now we pull back, right? We grab our failure, we get our money going back up to retest the high now. Mission accomplished. Now, the buyers come in. They try once. They try twice. Now, the reason why you want to use the 2-try failure on this is because, again, of momentum, right? There will be some times for a 1-try failure. We'll talk about that a little bit later on in the video because I think there's a couple options on that on the Nasdaq. But we definitely do want to be careful whenever we're going against the market's momentum, right? So buyers once, buyers twice, and then I've got that short, right, coming off the high, all right? I'm going to go into a little more detail on that one on the Nasdaq, all right? But that's another way I can short this thing off of that high, right? So we're buying off that low. We go back and retest the high. Buyers try a couple times. All their stops are sitting there. Bam, sell it right back down into that trading range. Target at the low, right? Pendulum swing on the other side. All right, hopefully that makes sense. How do we trade a breakout? All right, how do we trade a breakout here? There are a couple different types of breakouts that we can use here. Let's talk about a couple of them on the S&P, and we'll get moving over to the Nasdaq here. One of them, right? One of the breakouts, probably the easiest one, is simply a 1, 2, 3 breakaway move, right? 1, 2, 3 breakout. Now, didn't do it here, right? We'll see if they do it here, right? 1, 2, 3 breakout. Now, the key is they have to really jump off that moving average. And then once we get that jump going higher now we go out, we mark up that new high, we find a new channel. I always like to look left and look for those prior swings. The key is you want to get under the moving average. Get under the moving average. Use those traps below prior swings. Use the moving average for what we call a failure setup. Failure patterns often lead into pullback combinations. Pullbacks lead to strength moves, right? Again, if you've taken the free trading course, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Traps, failures, pullbacks, and strength. Again, all of those links again, right, are in the upper right-hand corner there, or I'll also drop them in the description there, right, down below. Where would the target be on that, by the way? Right? Where would the target be on these trades? Remember, the first leg and the third leg are usually identical, right? Usually. Every once in a while, the second and third leg are, but that's pretty rare, all right? So if we do get that 1, 2, 3 breakout, that's another way to do it. Okay, here's one more breakout to keep in mind. Here's one more breakout to keep in mind. And this is because we get a lot of open space up top here, right? And that is the 2 try breakout. Let's say, for example, we see a real strong rip going higher, right? We see a shallow pullback and a higher high in price. That trap right there, almost a guaranteed winner. It is. It's almost a guaranteed winner. Kind of like this one we saw. Strong move up, shallow pullback, higher high in price. Again, almost a guaranteed winner, right? That same pattern, which we basically saw today, earlier this morning, right, is exactly what we can look for as we go higher. Now, remember the rules of this. Strong move up, shallow pullback, higher high in price. Say it with me. Traps, baby, right? That's where the money is right there. That trap is a money trade. The strong move up gets the juices going, right? The shallow pullback really frustrates all the buyers. The higher high in price confirms the move, right? Because sometimes they will go up and come right back down, right? They will. So this is again, one of my favorite breakout patterns. We call these 2 try breakouts because as you will learn in my video classes, it's all about getting the opposite side of the market to try twice, right? You'll learn a lot about the number 2 with me in my trade room, right? It really dominates the entire market and is excellent for price action traders. Okay, let's keep going though, right? I don't want to spend all my bullets here on the S&P. But remember, the S&P and Nasdaq are very, very similar. So everything I talked about on the S&P here can pretty much be applied almost to the tick, right, on the Nasdaq. Let's grab the Nasdaq though. The Nasdaq is very, very similar. But you'll notice right away there are probably 2 really significant differences. Okay, one of them is we don't have a spike in channel. Okay, this is not a spike in, this is a range, right? This is a bull market into a trading range. So not a lot different, right? There's not a lot different there. We get again, ranges act like magnets, right? So what do? With a bull market into a trading range, you find levels of support underneath it, right? And you buy those areas of support. Okay, that itself is the same. We also, of course, well, I should say, right, the range is the same, but we don't have a spike in channel, right? Spike in channels, the S&P is a spike in channel, right? This is just a strong move up that we know whenever we see a strong move in one direction, it's almost a guarantee, right? We retest that high, right? So buyers kind of got what they wanted, as we say in our trade room, mission accomplished. Now at this point here, we really got to get some fresh blood in this market. You know what I mean? We got to get underneath these lows. You got to think there are probably going to be more buyers waiting underneath that low, right? Not inside this area, right? That's used goods. You know, it's damaged goods, right? It's all used up, right? This is the noise area right here, right? Everything inside this area is all noise. I wouldn't waste your time on that, right? But if we can get a nice deep pullback, right, get underneath where we went today, fresh, right, freshies, fresh buyers, you know, buyers are waiting there, right? And of course, at the same time, if we get this thing to go higher here, right, obviously that will prompt, right, some fresh blood in the market there as well, right? So we know what is very similar to the S&P is look at the open space here. Oh my goodness. Now, if you go to a really slow time frame, there's a big range up here. I'm not going to waste your time on that right now. It's quite a ways back. But rest assured, 15,000 is a tasty round number that you know the buyers would love to sink their teeth into at some point tomorrow. That does seem to be a pretty big stretch, But at the same time, they made a pretty big move today. So who knows, right? Got Powell at 8 o'clock tomorrow. Giddy up, right? Who knows? Maybe it will go all the way to 15,000. What's another big difference? Here's another really big difference. I think this is one of the key variables for tomorrow is the open space down here between the one buy zone and a second buy zone. And this is, I think this is huge because when you look at the S&P, again, S&P, it almost, obviously nothing is ever guaranteed, but it's not going to be easy to be a bear down. You know what I mean? Unless this really rips and runs lower, and I'll talk about that in a second. But as you can see, these kind of overlap. There's very little space there between there. It's going to be difficult unless something dramatically changes, which of course could easily happen with Powell tomorrow morning, bright and early. But you can easily see on this chart, right? There's a lot of open space there as comparable to the S&P. And this is definitely where I think the sellers have definitely a window of opportunity. But make no mistake about it, though, just like on the S&P, that 14,460 area is a big time level, right? This is a big time level right here. That 14,460 is a huge area, right? We were hoping this thing would pull back all the way to that today, right? You talk about fresh buyers in the market, pull back to 14,450, and you'll probably see some significant fresh buyers in the market right there. But I do think, though, there's a way to sell this thing between those two. And so we'll talk about that here in a moment. And so really at this point, it's very similar, right? Buyers would love to buy the dip. Buyers, I think, would love to sell that buy that really deep pullback. That will take some finesse. We'll talk about that in a second. I think buyers would love to buy a breakout. We talked about two of them on the S&P. We'll grab a few more here on the Nasdaq. I also, and again, I love, now if we weren't, if it wasn't 6 o'clock on Tuesday evening right now, I would say this is a dream come true, right? Double top, 1 and 2 back down. It's a little bit dicey because of the time of day right now, but that is definitely something that I would normally be looking for, right? Strong move up, retest that high, let them try once, let them try twice, and short this thing as we go. So sellers would love to get down, back up, and short off of that, right off of that high. I also think sellers can look for a reversal going lower, thread that needle going lower, right before we look for that buy going back up. So I definitely do think there is a small window, but definitely a tradable window here for the bears as we go lower here right now. All right, as we open up in Asia, how do we buy it? How do we sell it? Where are the best trades here? Same thing we talked about on the S&P, where because we're rotating off that high, as we go lower, we do want to use that 1, that 2 try failure, right? See what happens here? They pull back, they try once, they try twice, right? And then we get that run going back up again. That's the game plan here, right? Let those bears dig their own grave, right? Let them wrap that rope right around their neck. It's much easier than trying to pick the actual bottom. Then don't forget, as we go higher here, your job ain't over yet, right? The money's still flowing. Find that new channel and grab that first pullback. Now, again, I say pullback, but very rarely do we take a straight up pullback setup, right, off the low of those channels. Usually they are trap setups, they are failure setups, and failures oftentimes turn into pullback combinations. You're going to learn those smaller details in that free video course I linked up in the upper right-hand corner. So nothing is new there, right? Now, what if we go lower here? Okay, here's a couple things that you want to think about here to sell this if we go lower. First of all, let's say we take out that pendulum swing. The bears come in now and they hold that pullback and they jump right off that moving average. At that point now, what you want to do is, this is that same 1, 2, 3 breakout pattern we talked about on the S&P. I'm going to mark up that low. I'm going to mark off that high. And what you really want on this trade is a trap high, or, right, get those buyers to come in, try to buy and sell into those stop losses. Okay, where's the goal of this? The goal of this is right into this, right, 14,466 level. Okay, this is going to be a bit scary, but remember, when you have a 1, 2, 3 move where they literally jump off the moving average, it's almost a guarantee that at the very least we retest that low. Right? Just like we said earlier, whenever we see a strong move up, for this example, right, it's almost a guarantee they retest that high. This is the same idea over here. If we see it really race lower here, don't be bashful about that, right? Just find that channel, wait for the pop up off that low, look for the trap, look for those the buyers to get trapped, and use those stops, right? The stops are where the money is because you're selling right into those people who are long. Right? When you get forced out of a long position, you're selling. And so when you're selling that failure, you're not only the sellers are selling, but the buyers are selling. Now, again, this may not go on forever, right? It may not be the biggest home run trade of the week, right? But it's almost a guarantee we come very close to retesting, if not pushing through that low. Once we get that 1, 2, 3, we find that new channel, right? We get that short. Now, this is where the good stuff is, right? This is where the good stuff. This is the trade you don't want to miss tomorrow. And you almost hope we do get this really deep pullback here. Now we've got the good stuff, right? Now, we talk about fresh blood in the market. This is some fresh blood down here, right? Now, we're very bearish at this point, right? But again, range above us, right? Big move up beforehand. Let those bears, let them tie that rope right around their neck, right? Let them wrap it around nice and tight and buy right into those stops. Now on this one, because it's such a deep pullback, oftentimes you're not going to get that pullback set up, right? Like I love this one, right? That failure into that first pullback, right? Failure into that first pullback, failure into pullback combination. But because these types of deep pullbacks catch so many people on the wrong side of the market, it oftentimes doesn't pull back right away and kind of skips right as it goes higher. That is a blessing in disguise, because now the little trap level, right, where it skips, that little trap level comes in. That is an awesome trade. In fact, I would say that is one of my top 3 favorite trades, right? Because sometimes you won't get a good looking reversal off that. 1 try, 2 try. Sometimes a little V bottom off it, right? Rip higher, and that trap is a great trade still, right? So don't be afraid of that, right? So 2 try failure, and then grab that first, right, trap setup, pullback setup. As we make that move back up, I'll take some off here at the high of that range and leave that runner back up to those highs here, right? Makes sense? All right. I love that setup. Hopefully, if there are some trading gods listening out there, right, give us that one tomorrow. Let Powell take it lower for us, and let's get this thing right back up again, right? A little teamwork there from J. Powell. All right. We talked about the 1, 2, 3 breakout, right, on the S&P. You got that. We talked about the pop, the shallow pullback, and the higher high. Okay, we talked about that one, right? All of this still applies. How about the easiest one? Well, maybe not. They're all pretty easy, right? Let's face it. How about the pop? How about the pop and grind, right? The pop and grind. We always talk about this one, right? So it pops up. This is a really easy setup. This one can be confusing though, right? Because it's not like it pops, pulls, and jumps, right? It kind of pops and grinds. And so a lot of my students were like, so is this a 2 try? Is it a 1, 2, 3? I don't, what is it? No, this is a short squeeze, right? This is a melt up environment, right? It pops and it grinds as it goes, right? So we mark up nice and tight off that high. Right? This is the key. Don't mess with these big, wide channels. All right? It's probably not going to work. Okay? What you want to do is draw it nice and tight right up those highs. Anchor it all the way down to that low. And then again, look left. Find some prior swings. Get underneath those prior swings. Get underneath the moving average. Use those traps, those failures, and those pullbacks. And again, remember, the first leg is almost always identical to that third leg. Right? Don't worry about the middle leg, right? See this example? It goes 1 leg, Second leg is that kind of grindy leg, right? Third leg is the explosive continuation leg, hopefully where you're getting paid, right? Hopefully that's the paycheck leg right there, right? So we've got the first leg, and the third leg is the one that you want to be aware of. All right, guys? How about one more? We've seen a lot of these lately where it'll spike up and go into a trading range. What do you do with these? What do you do with a spike up into a range? We've talked a lot about this already, right? We find levels of support below the range, right? Trend lines coming up. Find those support levels down there. What are ranges? Magnets, okay? Wait for the breakout. Eventually, those buyers will run out of bullets. Wait for that breakout. Do not go against that pop-up direction. Let some other poor sucker try to sell it back down again, right? And then buy right into their stops. On this one, you do not need a two-try failure. Why? Because momentum is all bulls, baby, right? It's all bulls, right? It's all bulls. Now, remember, if we go into a range and then we pop up, then what do you do? Yes, you mark up the amount above, mark up amount below, right? You let it swing all the way back down. See, now that's a different story now, right? Is this ringing a bell now? Is this making sense? Am I getting some light bulbs going off? I hope by now you've at least hit that like button, maybe a subscribe, maybe a little bell icon, get the notifications going for me for next time. Right now, bears try once, bears try twice, bingo, right? That's the money trade right there. Okay, you got this. This is where it all comes together. Big difference between a pullback and an up and then pullback. All right, yeah, we got that. And again, 15,000, big wide open space there. So we might have a little party going on to the upside tomorrow. We'll see, right? We'll see. Again, tomorrow is not the day to be in the prediction business, right? With all that news, and you know that there's some big shoe going to drop this week. You know, I told you guys last week, don't be surprised if we wake up here one day and whoops-a-daisy, there's a 50%, 50 basis point rate hike. They've been flirting with this all week this week, right? It's amazing how desperate the Fed speakers sound, as if they had nothing to do with this entire thing the entire time. I'm sitting here watching these press conferences going, these guys are way too smart to really think this, right? It's incredible. They've been talking down inflation, and now they find themselves backed into a corner. And so don't be surprised if we wake up one of these mornings and, oh, whoopsie daisy, we raised rates by a half, by a 0.5%, 50 basis points. There's probably something like that coming here soon enough. How about the oil? Oil, I'll tell you, oil is, again, we know this, oil is really being kind of what's the old Pinocchio, right? Who's Pinocchio's owner? Geppetto? Not Pinocchio. Yeah, Pinocchio, right? Geppetto. Pinocchio. Crude oil is being pulled around by Ukraine right now, right? It's like a puppet right now with all the drama happening in Ukraine. So again, we got potentially more headlines coming tomorrow. We'll see. A lot of this right now is depending on what happens overnight, because you're seeing a lot of these big moves here overnight. What is the key? What are the most important factors right now on oil? There are three very important factors. One of them is this trading range. This is by far the most important factor, right? What do ranges tell us to do? Ranges tell us to find support below, resistance above, right? Sell high and buy low, right? Because ranges act like magnets. That's probably the most important factor in this chart right now. What is the next most important factor? Well, I would say this strong move down. When we saw this strong move down this morning, we open up our trade room every morning at 8 o'clock Eastern time. You should come out and join us tomorrow, every morning for that matter. We can do it together. But when we came out this morning and we saw this, right? We saw this strong move down with a range. We kind of assumed that it was going to be a bear day until we retested that low. Right. And we thought this morning that, okay, let's get some shorts going on off that high. And then once we get this thing back to retest the low, then we'll get some fresh blood in the market and we can get this thing going higher. So remember, anytime we see a strong move in one direction, we know the odds are pretty good they're going to, in this case, retest that low. So as you can imagine, right, if we can get what we really hope for is a move to take out those lows and then give us a chance to buy it right back up into that trading range. Now, this is where we have the third component, and that is the very obvious overarching monster move that we saw on Monday, with this big move up that just kept on going, right? Just kept on going yesterday. Now, what does that tell us? Well, remember, recency is really important, right? Recency is really important. So real strong move up. They probably overdid a little bit. Strong move down, right? Retest that low and then whoop, right back up to take out that high. Okay, so now put all these pieces together. We know that eventually the buyers want to go back to retest those highs. Now, remember, guys, the oil market right now is one of those markets that you have to trade the chart. All right, because if you go online right now to all the so-called experts online, they're going to say, yeah, oil's topped out, man. Oil's reached the top. You know, they'll show you some really big, complicated math modules, and let me show you why. They're not right, guy. Forget about that crap. All right, economists are not traders. All right, the last person you want to be listening to right now is some specialist that's never traded a chart before. Trade the darn chart. The best thing you can do right now if you're trading oil is get the television turned off, get rid of the newspaper, and trade the darn chart. The chart will tell you everything. Now, we know right now with that strong pop up, there's a very good chance these buyers are going to find a way back up to retest the high. Recency is very important with that strong move down, which is why we said this morning, hopefully they will retest this low, take out that low, and the party can really begin, right? And go back up to retest the high. So long story short, I know I've been on a little bit of a tangent on this thing, but you can see the buyers, right? Buyers would love to buy off this low. They would love to buy it on the way back up to retest that high, right? This could be a breakout going higher. We definitely have some chances to buy it as it goes higher, right? Buyers can buy the breakout going higher. Buyers can buy the move going lower, right? How about sellers? Sellers obviously can sell a breakdown, right? 105. We've talked about how the markets right now are obsessed with the fives, right? 115, 110, 105. It makes perfect sense here that if the bears can take this thing lower, they're going to want to get that 105 and maybe even back down into that 100, right? There's a big range down there from late last week. Sellers have to be very careful trying to sell in this area right now because there's probably going to be a big vacuum effect right in that area. Right? So if we can break above this area here, this is where sellers can short. They can look for that short off of that high. And you can probably already kind of make a good guess as far as how I want to trade this here for tomorrow. All right? So we have a pretty good idea of what is affecting this market right now. Okay? We go lower. Right? We go lower. We are bearish in this example. So what's the best way to buy it? Let them try twice, right? Let them try once. Let them try twice. Run those stops. And if we can get in before we reach this trend line, this little pain in the butt trend line coming down right now, right? If I can get that first test, because, you know, first test is the best test, right? That's what I hear at least. That's what I hear, right? I'm kidding with you, right? 2 try failure into that first test before that trend line, that sounds great. Right? That sounds great. What may happen is we may see it go lower. The bears may take these, right? The bears may, right, strike 1, strike 2. We may get that run, and then this is exactly where a short squeeze may come in, right? We start grinding. What do we talk about when you see a grind like that? Squeeze, baby, right? They're squeezed, right? Those are bears getting out right now. Something's changed. So what do? You mark up that high, you mark up that low, right? You put your helmet on if you have to, right? Your mouth guard in, and you grab that first test, right? That is a very likely scenario here for a hard bounce off the low, right? Short squeeze as bears realize, oh crap, right? I'm on the wrong side of this right now, and we look for that first test as we go lower, okay? If we go lower here. Right? Imagine now a 1, 2, 3 breakdown. Didn't happen here. Will it happen here? Remember, got to jump off that moving average. 1, 2, 3. Mark that new channel. Again, as I mentioned many times already, I like traps off that high, failures off that high. You'll learn a whole lot more about that in the video course linked up in the upper right-hand corner. Okay, where do we think this market wants to go? 105 for sure. 104.67 is that prior high. Where do we know the objective though is? First leg equal to third leg, right? That'll help you fine tune that final exit. Or maybe we pop and we grind, right? Pop and grind. That works too. I don't care, right? I'm an equal opportunity trader. I don't care what the hell pattern we use. I don't care what direction we trade in. I really could care less, right? I'm not in the prediction business. Neither should you be. Okay, when you make predictions, especially on YouTube like this, what are you doing? You're cheering for that to happen. Keep that mind clear, right? Your mind needs to be kept clear. That's why I say turn off the television, get rid of the news feed, right? If you want a really good news feed, go to tradethenews.com. Get yourself $100 a month, text news alerts. That's all you need, right? First leg, third leg. All right. Or maybe it's a strong rundown, right? Strong rundown. Something happens overnight, right? Market dumps, strong move, shallow pullback, lower low in price. What was it again? Traps, baby, right? Traps, baby. Great trade there. Now, what do you think? Could that go trap, right? Could that go trap, get into this 105? And then all of a sudden, whoa, hold on, could that 1, 2, and bam, right? Oh, hell yeah, it could, right? That'd be great. Get that 2-try failure and then pop that sucker right back up. Grab that channel. Are you kidding me, right? You get this sequence, right? That trap, 2-try failure to first pullback. Take Thursday off, right? Take the rest of the week off. Go on vacation, right? That's a huge payday right there, right? This is the good stuff for tomorrow. Okay, as we go higher, right? As we go higher, calm down a little bit here. I get excited when I talk about this stuff. I love this stuff, right? Hopefully you do too. And by the way, if you're still watching this video right now, a big kudos to you. You know, most folks would just cut this thing off after 15 minutes if there isn't some fancy indicator I'm talking about, right? So definitely kudos to you right now. And by the way, what is the biggest obstacle, do you think, standing in your way right now? You know, if you're watching this video right now, your opinion is somebody I really respect and value. Would you let me know in the comment section, what would you say is the biggest obstacle for you? Is it finding support and resistance? Is it entry triggers, right? Is it trade management? Is it psychology and mindset? What is it? You know, well, let me know in the comment section, right? If you're still watching this video right now, you're the person I do these videos for, right? I don't do it for the indicator of the week club, right? I do it for the real traders out there. Let me know in the comment section below, what is the biggest obstacle? If you could wave a magic wand and make one thing about your trading better, what would it be? Let me know in the comment section below, and I'll make sure we attack that in my next video here next week. Okay, as we go higher, there is one very good trader as we go higher, right? We pop up, strong move up, shallow pullback, higher high in price, traps, right? That is the trade you want to take here as we go higher, right? I would love to say a pop and grind would also work too. That would work too, right? A pop and grind would also be great. I just don't think we'll be that lucky, right, to get that. But that would be great too, right? A little pop and grind there. That'd be great, right? As far as a sell goes, right? As far as a sell goes here, let's say we do go up, right? We grab that little 2-try breakout, little 2-try trap, right? We go up, we grab it, we retest this high now. Now here's a really big part. Here's something you got to be careful with tomorrow. What you want to think about is this is going to be such a big separation between these two highs that the best way to short this will be to let it go up, retest, and then 1, 2, back down, find that new channel. Okay? There's a lot of separation between this high and this high. So technically, it doesn't quite qualify for a double top reversal. So if we do end up getting this thing going higher, right, we'll find our way in on the way higher here. We take out that high. Remember, this is going to be a very bull market at that point. Yes, I realize there's a range below us, right? And yes, right, I would like to short it, but just be aware, the best way to do this, the most reliable way to do this would be to let it double top, right? Remember, strong move, let them retest, right? Let them retest. Then 1, 2, and that's the one you want to hit. Right? That's the one you want to hit. If we're really lucky, there'll be a trend line coming down overhead like that, right? Little trap line over there. We've talked about those a couple times this week already. right? And then again, it's that 2-try failure and that right trap, that failure, that pullback. That's another easy 10x trade off the high, right? Back into that range below. What you want to do here, though, is if they take out that high, what I'm looking for is if we don't get that double top, what you want is you want the most conservative version of that 2-try failure. We call them crown reversals. They are 1 try for the bulls, 2 try for the bulls, and a trap high. Okay, this would be the most aggressive that would still be considered to be a reliable trade here, right? So we run up to retest the high, right? Buyers try once, buyers try twice, a trap high, right? One of my favorite tricks between you, me, and YouTube is to mark a trend line off that low, up around that high, and use that for a hidden channel, right? Little hidden channel, 1 try, 2 try, and back down again. All right, guys? And then don't forget too, right? If we pop up, if these buyers hold and they just blast, you know where it wants to go. It wants to go to 115, right? So if it blasts and, just torches right to that level, don't be afraid, right, to grab that channel. Obviously, this area now becomes a support zone, right? And now just a matter of getting underneath that moving average, trapping in some of those sellers and using those, right, using those stops as gasoline, right, to go higher here. Okay, 115 being a target. All right, guys, I think we've exhausted a lot of the different options here on the oil. Again, we've got a good plan, right? Our goal right now is to plan our trades and trade our plan, and we got a good plan of attack ready to go here. Again, tomorrow, probably not the day to be making predictions. Tomorrow's a day. Let's see what Powell says, right? We'll see how the inventory report comes out. I got a pretty good feeling about tomorrow, though, right? And hopefully, I will see you in the trade room. We talk about this. The strategy is very easy to learn. But remember, trading is a performance skill. It's not enough to just watch this video every night. Come out and do it with me every day. It's a great way to learn and earn. Make sure you're not making those mental mistakes and start growing that account like I know you're watching this video for right now. Don't forget, I'll put all the free course links. I'll put the membership class links, the trade room links. Everything will be in the description of this video. Don't be afraid to call the office. I'm always here to help out along the way. I've got live chat on the right-hand side, and I always answer questions in the comment section as well. All right, guys? Now get out of here. Great job tonight. I'm glad you stuck around all the way to the end. Get some rest, and don't hit that snooze button tomorrow because it's going to start off bright and early with Jay Powell at 8 a.m. Eastern Time. Guys and gals, if I don't see you guys tomorrow morning in the trade room, don't forget, no newsletter Wednesday and Thursday. We'll come back. We'll be ready to rock next week, this final week of March. Guys, my name is Joseph. Be well out there. Be nice to each other, will you? Enjoy the rest of your week, and we'll see you guys next week. Adios, amigos. Bye-bye for now.